welcome to Moto Talk, episode 7. We have a special guest today on the show, 5-time Loretta Lynn champion, Ben Riddle, joining us. Yeah, Ben was a top amateur racer, unbelievably fast, and won Loretta's 5 times. So this episode sponsored by SRS Suspension here in Ohio. If you need any suspension work, reach out to my buddy Travis McQueen, and he'll get your stuff all set up. He did mine a couple weeks ago, and man, it's amazing. So here at Moto Talk, Caverick Stewart and I, we pride ourselves in providing a place for the amateur riders to connect with current and past champions, providing them inspiration to chase their racing dreams. Without any more wait, let's get over to 5-time Loretta Lynn champion, Ben Riddle. Hey, Ben, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You're a busy guy. You're out training, traveling. They got you flying all around the country training guys. What's been going on, Ben?
I just got back from Kansas. I went and did a camp out there for a week. And then before that, I was in Indiana at a regional for one of my guys that rides Schoolboy 1. And just training all the time, staying busy, doing track work. I work at the track, and I do a lot of dozer work and stuff like that. So I'm constantly on the grind. They're doing something with Moto, it seems like.
That's awesome. You know, you loved it when you were a kid, and, you know, it sounds like you're still pretty connected. You're coaching, you're work, getting these up and comers, you know, hopefully chasing their racing dreams as you and I did. And how many times did you go to Loretta Lynn's? You won 5 times.
I started going in 91 or 92, I think. So I went like 9 years. It took me like 4 years before I started getting results. It was like my 3rd year, I got 4th, and then I moved up to big bikes, and I got like 7th and 8th, and then it got 2nd and 3rd, and then the next year I went 1-2. Should have went 1-1, but I threw a moto away, and I ended up getting a back. Yeah, I should have won 2 classes that year, but only won 1. So, but I split the championships with Josh Woods, so it was good. I mean, just some mistakes, but other than, you know, then the next year I won both the class. That was in Schoolboy, and then the next year I won both my classes in 125B and 250B. So.
Man, that just to get there alone, but to have, you know, top 10s, podiums, championships there. Well, first of all, I got to ask you the infamous Moto Talk question here. You know, you're still connected to the sport. You obviously love it. But when you were a kid, what did you love so much about riding and racing? What kept you out there?
I don't know. I think it's still the issue that I don't ride much anymore is because I like going fast. I like the adrenaline rush. I don't know. I love being at the track. It'll be 33 years next Monday on my birthday. I've been riding dirt bikes and racing. So I got 33 years in this stuff. So I still like being at the track. I still like going. I still like going to watch the races. Like I'll try to watch as many races as I can. I don't know. Once it's in your blood, you can't get it out. And my dad raced, so we spent a lot of time when I was younger, before I started riding, going to GNCCs and going to races. And we grew up riding 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers. And see, I know I had a bike. And once I got on 2 wheels, I don't know, just the adrenaline and just that. I don't know. It's almost like you get into a zone, and you know how it is. You get on the track and you get into a zone, and I don't know. It's just like takes you away from a lot of off the bike issues. You know what I mean? Like, if you know, my family wasn't the greatest, so they argued some. So when I was on the track, it was a lot better. You know what I mean? I could focus on what I had to do, and it got me away from everything else. And, you know, got me away from all the bad things and all the, you know, it was so much fun. And I had so much fun at the track, you know, on the bike, off the bike, you got stuff to do, you know. I can remember still to this day going swimming at certain places at Loretta's when I was 8 years old. And like, that's still in my mind, you know, and that's why I like doing it so much, because it's like memories that last forever, you know.
Oh, yeah. Going out to Loretta's, you know, even local races, hanging out with your friends, you know, those were probably your best friends back then. And,
oh, yeah.
I know that's why I do it. And that's why we're here on this show to kind of spread the word. And, you know, we appreciate you talking to us today. You just love getting on the bike when you were, it kind of took you away from everything. You said you did some GNCCs.
No, my dad used to.
Oh, your dad did the
Yeah,
GNCCs.
he won 40 plus GNCCs in like 94 or something, 93. So he raced against Roger DeCoster and all them guys in the 70s, raced pro nationals in the 70s. So it's kind of like in my blood.
Yeah, you got on a bike and, just probably from seeing him ride and stuff, you were just next up, right?
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, every time he rode when I was younger and I had my 3-wheeler or my 4-wheeler riding, I said, I want a dirt bike. So he bought me a dirt bike. Like I said, it'll be 33 years next Monday. And we raced that following weekend. So, and ever since then, it's been like, I don't know. I enjoyed winning. I know you're not always going to win, but I got hooked on winning. You know what I mean? When you're beating everybody all the time, it's almost, you can't get enough of it. So I can constantly strive to be better than everybody else at the track, beat everybody, try to, I guess, embarrass everybody. I want to beat them by so much and embarrass them, and be that guy. When I was in Kentucky, I was everybody. I was that guy. Everybody loved me, and they go to the track, and everybody loved watching me race. So I don't know. It's not an ego thing, but it made me feel good that I put so much work into it, and then I got so hooked on riding and wanting to ride all the time. It's all I wanted to do every day. Like, I didn't matter what I did. I got up and I went and trained, and then I went and got on my bike and rode every day as much as I could, and I couldn't get enough of it.
Now, did you have like a track at your house in the backyard where you could just get home from school and ride?
Oh yeah, but yeah, we had like a 20-acre farm in Kentucky, and we built a big old track on it. And then I was homeschooled when I was 12 because Travis Pastrana was homeschooled. So my dad thought if I was going to beat him, I needed to be homeschooled so I could ride all the time. So basically, I would go to the gym in the mornings at 12. I'd run to the gym, which was 7 miles, go work out for 2 hours, and then go back home and run 5 gallons of gas out of my bike. That was my routine every day. And I did that for, I don't know, 8-9 years almost. It seems like forever.
And that hard work, that probably got you to winning those championships. Who were some of the guys that you were racing with? Some of the big names. I know there's some big names. I know you mentioned Pastrana. Tell us some of the guys.
Andrew Short's probably the biggest name that made it farthest. I used to beat him on a regular basis on the weekends, like every national beat him. So him, Jeff Gibson, Josh Woods, Matt Walker, Bobby Bonds. I used to race against Ivan Tedesco, Johnny Marley, race against Nick Wade, Fonseca. They're a little bit older than me, but Nick Wade, Ernesto Fonseca. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
There's some names there, Johnny Marley, and I haven't heard that one in a while. Gibson, he's an Ohio guy like me. I got to see him a couple weeks ago. Those Andrew Short, those are some big names that you were racing. I think in '98 I raced Super Mini with you and you lapped me. It was like a mud. Was it a mud race?
Let me see, 98. It might have been 98 or 97. I'm not sure what year it was.
It might have been 97 because it was like my first year. I barely qualified, and I remember I just moved up from the 60s in '96, and holy crap, it was muddy. And I remember you might have lapped me twice. You were flying. You're a couple years older than me, and I'll never forget. I can like you said, thinking back to Loretta's in the creek, I can remember you going by me like that at Loretta's. So man, you were fast back then. You had some big sponsors. You rode for Team Green. You rode for Suzuki. I mean, you were pretty much like the factory amateur rider, the guy to beat those years.
Yeah, at one time, yeah. And then I rode Team Green for a long time, but I had to work hard to get it. When we first got sponsored by them, they wasn't giving us anything. It's like I went to Loretta's on a Kawasaki. I didn't have no graphics on the bike, and my mom unstitched my Fox logos. And when I got on the podium, they asked me why I didn't have no stickers because I had nobody that sponsored me. So the following week, I got a call from Team Green, and then Thor picked me up and Bell helmets. It was like from there on out, I started getting help, and it was like I couldn't, I was like, all right, well, results going to get you more help. So I pushed even harder. And the following year, I got double what I got the year before. And then the next thing I know, I was getting 4 or 5 free bikes and still got garbage bags like Thor gear. And then the last year I rode Team Green, I got an offer from Suzuki. And they gave me 10 bikes, a bunch of travel money, unlimited parts, They flew me to all the races. All my bikes were always there. They were all, I had my own mechanic, which my dad didn't. My dad liked the guy, but didn't like having a mechanic because he always liked working on bikes. So it was kind of awkward some days because the guy would try to work on my stuff. My dad's like, no, let me do it. It just, it's just Ben trusts me, which was fine. But it was a big change. You know what I mean? Like once I started getting results, I was like, oh, so this is how it is. This is how all the fast guys are getting this stuff. And then it was like, once I started realizing, all right, my results are getting there. And if I can do it even better, I can get more stuff. You know what I mean? And at that time, everybody at 14, 15, 16, you're trying to save up for a truck. So that was my goal. I was like, all right, I'm going to save up money and race and do as much as I can. I'll buy my own pickup truck. And, then I bought my own house, and it was like, and then I turned pro and got paid really good, which that helped out. But it was never enough. You know what I mean? Like I constantly wasn't satisfied with what I was doing because I wanted to be faster. And you know what I mean? That was my I felt like I never did enough, which I did plenty because I would have my buddies come out and ride or work out with me, and they would just be like, "Oh, you're doing way too much." And I did it every day, and it was what it took because I was bigger than everybody else. I had to be fitter than everybody else. I had to be able to outlast everybody and, be able to ride as hard as I can for 20 minutes at Loretta's, or when I got to the nationals and stuff, I had to be able to do that 35 plus, that 30 plus 2. So I pushed, I was striving to try to be better every day. I couldn't get enough of it.
And I'm sure you instill that in the little rippers that you're training these days and get them working hard. Who do you remember, like, what was like the coolest sponsor that you had? I know when I got like a box of Vans shoes in like 8th grade, I was so pumped. Well, who was your favorite sponsor of all time? Was it the bikes, or what do you got? What do you think?
It's kind of a toss up because I had a sponsorship from Reef Shoes and then DC Shoes too. And DC brought me out to their factory, and then literally I got, I think, every color combination of every shoe, plus an extra set for my brother and a set for my dad. You know what I mean? 3 different sizes. And I left there with like 40 pairs of shoes. And then it'd be that in Suzuki, because Suzuki helped me out pretty good. They gave me 10 bikes, and then I had unlimited travel expense money. You know what I mean? They gave me some money, gave my dad some money to help with bills and stuff like that, so we could race all the time. Because I grew up on a farm in Kentucky. We're poor. Like, we didn't have no money. Like, if I raced this day, there's no way that I'd be able to get to the races because it's just too expensive. So, like, technically, they helped us out a lot. Suzuki did. So I got to say Suzuki, because I got to go stay with my team manager in California, 16 years old, went out there and stayed with him in his house in Anaheim. And it was a different world. So I got to say Suzuki was pretty good. I mean, like, I've always, still to this day, I can still go to, certain people like Fox. I mean, Fox still helps me out if I need gear every once in a while. I call my Fox rep, or, there's still people that'll help me out with stuff if I need it and whatnot. I still talk to Bevo at 100%. He was my Scott rep forever. So, like, I don't have I was going to put it on, but he gave me, a pair of glasses and 100% the last time I saw him at a race. You know what I mean? He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" So the relationships don't die out. You know what I mean? Like, but it's, I got to say Suzuki's probably the one that did the most for me. Like, they really changed my career with like a sign. When I signed a piece of paper, it changed my career all the way, So,
You think that's like signing with them and getting that, do you think that motivated you even more?
Yeah, it motivated me even more, but also brought a lot of complications with it too. You know what I mean? Doing that, I had more expectations on me. You know what I mean? Which I exceeded their expectations, but at the same time, it was just, I feel like there was more pressure. You know what I mean? You get more stuff, you're going to get more pressure. You know what I mean? If you're the guy, then they expect you to be the guy every weekend, day in, day out, nonstop. So, it was, I'd say, yeah, that would probably be Suzuki. Probably, it made it easier, but at the same time, it made it difficult. You know what I mean? It's like a balancing act. You know what I mean? Like, it's up, down. Like, it just really depends on, how everything's going. Like, when I first signed Suzuki, I crashed in mini O's and got hurt real bad. And that kind of set me back. And, you know what I mean? I didn't even know if I was going to race Loretta's because I didn't even get healed up until the last area qualifier. I got to go race off the couch and made it. And then I was good from there. I went to Loretta's and still won 2 titles in the Horizon Award, but I didn't even know, you know what I mean? And it was like, I had all that. My dad was like, you gotta perform. You're gonna have to do this, this, and this to get back in shape. So them months once I got healed up was probably the most excruciating months of my life training, because we had to go so hard, because I wasn't allowed to do anything because I hurt my neck and my back. So I was laid up in bed for like 4 months. So I wasn't allowed to do much. So once I started doing stuff, I was so out of shape, because you sit out for 4 months, you don't have that. It goes away quicker than you get it. You know what I mean? So that was difficult. My last year at Loretta's was difficult because I was trying to get back in shape and being off even, you know how it is. The pro guys are off 3 or 4 months. Yeah, they got speed, but they don't have the speed like they do for the whole moto. So that was what I was struggling with.
So when you showed up to the starting line and you're racing minis or as an amateur, what was your attitude like showing up to the starting line? How did you, like, were you like, all right, I'm here, I'm better than everyone, I'm gonna win? What was your attitude like?
That right there, what you just said. Like, I knew my thing is like, I trained so hard through the week, and if you work hard through the week, the weekends are easy. You know what I mean? Like, if you go out and you pound it out through the week and you do all your work through the week, the weekend should be the easy thing. Go ask any pro rider. Yeah, the nationals are hard, but go ask them what's harder. They're going to say Monday through Thursday beats out that one day by tenfold. Like, and that was, so it's just, but basically what you said.
You're showing up to the line like, I'm pulling the whole shot. I put in the work, so I deserve to win.
Yeah. I mean, like, I went to Loretta's one year and it rained real bad. And everybody had duct tape on their tires so they wouldn't get mud in their tires. Okay. It go across this mud hole right there in staging. Well, we didn't put no duct tape on the tires for the fact that I just picked my 125 up and carried it across the mud puddle. So I already beat everybody before. That's the proven, like, people still talk about. I already beat him before I put it to the gate. I carried it from back of staging across a 15-foot mud puddle and pushed it up to the gate, and I already beat everybody. They were already beat before we went out on the racetrack. And that's the thing. Like, I tried to, moto's mental, a lot of mental. So if you can beat them before you even get to the gate, you got them beat in the race. If all the cards fall right, you get a good start. You got good luck, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing off bike. You've already got them beat. So that was my thing. My dad was real mental. He says a lot of it's mental. So if you can beat them on the gate, and like, we used to go down there, my brother would come to the gate, we'd hoot and holler and I'd have him slap me upside the helmet a few times. I'm sorry, it's like we'd get rough with each other and get our blood pumped up, and people be looking at us like, I don't want to be around him on the track. Like, I don't want to be anywhere close to that guy, because they were not scared of me, but at the same time, I was 6'3", 185 pounds, and I towered over everybody else, and I way badder than everybody else. Just to say that. That's how I felt in my mind, and that's how I applied it to the track. I felt like I was better than everybody else before the gate dropped, and if I had that mentality on the track and executed all my marks, hit all my marks, executed everything perfect, nobody's going to beat me. And that was my mentality. Like, I got to a point there that's like, I'm not getting beat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get beat, and I would do anything in my power. I wouldn't try to take people out, but I will rub you and run you off the track for a championship. And that's how it was. And I'll try to instill that part in the kids. Like, you got to work hard through the week, make the weekend easy. If you go out and you lollygag the week, the results show, you know what I mean? And it's like, you got to constantly push. And, you know, and when you're at your threshold, be willing to push through that threshold. You know what I mean? If you're out running 5 miles and you're like, you know what, I'm feeling good, let me go on and run another 2. And you get to that last one and you're dying, you still push it out regardless how bad you hurt. And it's just about digging deep and, trying to harness that mentality and using it for your advantage. You know what I mean? And I know it's a lot of confidence stuff, but I mean, if you're doing everything right off the bike and you go to the races, your confidence should be high. It's so high that, you know what I mean? Nobody's going to pop that bubble if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
You're not only training on the bike, you're running, you're probably lifting weights a little bit, maybe riding a bicycle, pretty much doing everything you can. Did you ever swim?
Yep. I used to swim all the time at our local lake. I'd swim like 4 miles. It's 1.5 miles across our lake at one point to another. I'd swim all the way across and all the way back, all the way across, and about halfway back, have my mom and then pick me up in the boat, and then we go wakeboard.
Yeah. So outside of riding, what'd you do for fun? I mean, riding it probably took up most of your time. Dad had you out there you wanted to put the work in, but when you had some time off from riding, what did you do? You did some wakeboarding. What else?
We go to the lake a lot, but I go shoot guns, goof off, go 4-wheel driving. We had a buddy that had big trucks. We'd go mudding all the time. We'd have fun, I mean, I like to shoot, you know what I mean? Like I had a pretty good gun collection at one point in time. So we go out and shoot, we go do stuff. I mean, I've done it. I mean, about everything, we used to go cliff jumping. I mean, I do anything I could get my hands on adrenaline wise, skydiving, whatever. Like, I mean, there's me and Travis was showing the first time he skydived was in Lake Elsinore with me in 2001. We were at the Lake Elsinore Supercross track, and I kind of got hooked on it, which was cool, but I only got to do it 2 more times after that. So I've never got to do it by myself. But anything adrenaline wise, you know what I mean? Ride jet skis, street bikes. I rode street bikes for a little while too. I had a couple street bikes, and anything that I can get my adrenaline up and get that rush, I was down to do. You know what I mean? And try not to get hurt doing it.
Oh yeah, because probably all of them. If you're anything like me, you try to push the limits on all of them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Who was your favorite rider growing up? Like, who is like you looked up to? You tried to study what they were doing.
Oh man, I watched McGrath a whole bunch. I like Jeff Stanton, and I like John Michelle Bell's style back in the day. I just liked his European style, and Carmichael really. But I mean, he was a little bit older than me. But like once he got on big bikes, I just watched everything he did because he was unbelievably fast. So like I grew up, I've been to his house a couple of times and trained with him back in the day, and it was like once he got. Because he was still on 85s when I got on big bikes. I was on big bikes at 12. He rode 85s until he was 15. He's only 2 years older than me, 3 years older than me. So by the time he was just getting on big bikes. And once I started watching him race, I watched him race in Texas. And I was like, he beat everybody in the B class so bad that the next race he went A. So I was just like, and I started watching him and just watching everything he did and trying to break it down. I still do that to this day, like watching Jet Lawrence and them. I've watched Mount Morris 3 times. I watched Hangtown 3 times. I watch. And I don't know. I can't get enough of it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like a fat kid with cake. You know what I mean? Like I watch MOTO all the time. I'm on the side-by-side right now. I got to go out on the track and get the dozer greased up for tomorrow's track prep. And it's like, I can't get enough of it. And it's like, so I would watch Stanton, old videos of Jeff Stanton, old videos of John Michelle Bell. Ezra Lusk was a pretty cool guy to watch back in the day. I like Loretta. I mean, a bunch of them, you know what I mean? Like, it's just hard to pick in that era because there were so many really fast guys in different styles and stuff. It's kind of like this era now. But I mean, like, McGrath was killer too, but like, he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, he was just so much dominant than everybody else that it was like, all right, I'm gonna watch him, but I still want to watch everybody else. And I just, I had my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, McGrath was a lot like you. You were out there dominating. As for several years. What was your favorite track or favorite race that stands out of all of them to you?
I gotta say, I like Mammoth Mountain. It was a pretty cool event. The first, let's see, Washougal. I like Budds Creek. Daniel Boone was my stomping ground. I can't really say that's my favorite track. I mean, it is my favorite, but at the same time, I probably spun 5,000 laps on that track. So I like Washougal, Budds Creek, Redbud. Redbud's still probably one of my favorites. I just like the layout there. It's been the same for so long or similar. I like the dirt up there. So I'm going to say like Redbud, Budds Creek, Washougal are probably my three favorites. I like Ironman too. It's new on the circuit. I rode there one time for Amateur Day, the first Pro National I rode there. And I like that track a lot too. You know what I mean? So anything with elevation, some up and down hills, some big booters and stuff, some good turns. I like it.
I know you ripped in the corners, but what did you like? Did you feel like you were the jumping guy or the whoops or like the sand? You were like extremely fast when it came to a sand track. Where did you really stand out that you felt you were like way better than everyone? Was it your starts?
My corner speed. I mean, I got starts too. Like I worked with Donnie Hansen for a long time and my starts were on point. Like I said, I outweighed everybody about 30 pounds, but I would still manage to be in the top 3 or pull the whole shot almost every national, like at my amateur stuff, So I would, about like that, starts, but corners, that's what I focus on in my training is corners, confidence, conditioning, cornering, the 3 C's of motocross.
The 3 C's, because everyone's hitting the jumps for the most part.
Yeah.
In your class, if you're in the top 10 or 20, everyone's hitting the same jumps. Maybe the top 2 guys are doing something different, but where to make up the time, I mean, there's way more corners on the track than there are jumps. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like entry speed, exit speed, where it's at. You know what I mean? Anybody can hit a jump. If Evil can jump a 400-pound Harley as far as he did 30 years ago, these kids can jump eventually. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, a lot of tracks too nowadays are so tamed down. There's not a lot of big, stupid jumps. So like a lot of people can jump everything. So the race is won the starts and the turns. You know what I mean? That's the 2 spots on the track. You're going to make up the most time. That's only spot on the track that you can pass 42 people at one time, or 41 people. You know what I mean? It's the gate to start. So if you can get the whole shot and execute your marks and hit everything, and then focus on your turns, your entry speed and exit speed is where it's at.
So when you were a kid, what was your favorite race or favorite championship that stands out to you? Was it one of your Lorettas?
I like when I won the Horizon Award the last year. I won both the pro classes there, the Open Pro Sport and 125A. That was probably pretty good. But I gotta say, I won the bronze. I won the platinum pipe and the gold Scott Goggle Award at Mini O's one year because I scored more points than everybody in the A class. I was in B class. I scored more points than anybody. I only got beat like twice. I think 1 qualifier and 1 moto I got beat. So I scored more points than anybody else that year. And that was pretty cool because there was a bunch of fast pro guys there that were getting ready to go getting a factory ride. And I kind of, as a B rider, had more points and outscored them, which I thought was pretty cool. And they gave me a mountain bike, and I still got all them plaques and all that stuff still to this day. So that one there, and probably Loretta's.
Yeah, I mean, getting up on for the awards ceremony at Loretta's in the pavilion there, I mean, nothing really tops that. I mean, the Horizon Award at Loretta's, your last year before you officially turned pro, I mean, that's huge. And obviously the platinum pipe and the goggles at Mini O's. There's only, not too many people have gotten those, and most of the guys who are getting those were, the best of the best. So,
oh yeah,
man, what a racing career as an amateur. And I mean, you were even when you turned pro, you were up there. You were running. I looked at your results briefly. You ran a bunch of nationals. I mean, you were a top 10 guy. How'd you like racing pro with the big guys when you stepped up?
I choked.
Yeah.
I choked. I just went from winning everything as an amateur and expected to jump right in there and be right up front. And when I wasn't, my bubble got burst, and I kind of was like, "Dang, I can't believe like everything I've been doing's been working, and now it's not working." You know what I mean? And it wasn't because I was out of shape. It's just because I just couldn't get a start, and I've got the 41 other guys that are the most elite in the world on the gate. And you know what I mean? Instead of an amateur, I got all these other guys that are on the gate and stuff with me, which makes it, even more tougher. So yeah, it was difficult. Like, it was a hard pill to swallow going from winning everything and then getting 15th at a couple nationals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of a bubble burster. I mean, I did get 10th overall in the Supercross Series East Coast. I should have got like a top 5, but I couldn't stay off the ground. My nerves I got nervous the first few times I went to Loretta's, but after I got my confidence up, and that's where, that's where I talk about confidence. My confidence was so low when I turned pro, and it was just like, I couldn't perform because I didn't have my confidence. And then once I started getting my confidence, I ended up getting hurt at Washougal. And then it was like I was off the bike for another 5 months. So that kind of hurt my momentum.
But with the stuff, you kind of going out there and choking a little bit, and I'm sure you're able to help these up and coming riders with some of that, because a lot of them get nervous. A lot of them get scared out there and maybe hold back. So I'm sure you're able to help them through that, and because you experienced it, you're right there with them. And I'm the same way. We're all nervous lining up at High Point or Bud's Creek and at the Pro National with, I remember my first year, I had like James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael on the line. My hero, they're kind of the same age as me, but my heroes for the most part,
Oh yeah.
Nowadays you're teaching, you're at down in Florida. So if any guys want to get down and train with you, they can reach out to you on Facebook or a Spider MX. Is that it?
Yep. Yes, sir. Spider MX.
I'm sure you like you said, you just love being around the track, watching the races. You watching High Point. I'm sure you're studying Jet Lawrence. What's he doing? Oh, did he do something different in that corner? Or I've never seen the rider do that. I got to kind of rewind that. They're always doing. I seen Anderson. I think it wasn't this past weekend, the weekend before, but did you see him hit that corner? Like he launched it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
It's pretty wild the speeds these guys are going nowadays.
You can pick up so much nowadays too with the footage and stuff. The video is so much better and the quality of stuff. So then you can really like catch little things that you couldn't catch 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. Like I study Jet Lawrence because he stands a lot. He don't look like he's trying. His body's on a swivel. His head stays almost motionless. If you watch him, his focus is so good. His head never moves. I mean, it moves a little bit. You watch everybody else, they're flinging this thing around. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're overworking too hard. And I watch Jet, and it looks like he's not even, I try to say it's almost like ballet. It's like, he just makes it look so simple and so fluid and so
effortless.
Yes. And it drives me, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't drive me nuts, but it just like, I try to tell the kids, I was like, look, when you guys, try to imitate these guys, try to watch them and break it down and see what they're doing. And, whatever you're doing in the turns, if it's not working, you got to willing to make a change. And a change is if you got to watch somebody, watch them a million times, hit a turn, you know what I mean? Rewind it, watch it again, rewind it, watch it again. All right, that's how he's hitting that turn. Well, I got to turn at the track, my local track. It's like that. Then you go there and you try to work, you know what I mean? Try to work it and try to be, imitate them. It's just like LeBron. He probably watched a million minutes of footage of Michael Jordan. I guarantee it. So like, you got to find your favorite rider and watch and just dissect it until you're sick of it. That's what I try to tell my kids. Like, I watch more footage than they do. And they're like, you watch it that much? I'm like, yeah, we watched it once. I was like, no, I've watched it 3 times. Just because I try to pick up little stuff. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to go in the house tonight and watch some old Supercross or something. There's nothing on TV too. So I'd rather watch Supercross and watch something that I enjoy than watch soap operas or something. You know what I mean?
I love putting on, like 90s Supercrosses. It sucks that the quality is so bad, but oh my God. I mean, there's so many you can watch.
Oh, I know.
There's so many Supercross from the late 80s, 90s, outdoor nationals, racing overseas. I mean, it's pretty cool. So to be able to get on there and see like, Emig and McGrath battling and all this stuff. I love getting on there and watching that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I get on there. I watched, I think it was like a video from 89. It was like Stanton and Doug Henry on a DGY Yamaha, like the old white ones or something. It was crazy. It was like, you can't beat that. You know what I mean? Like, I like watching all the old stuff just to see too, like the progression of the sport, the way the tracks were designed, the way the riders have changed their style, the bikes. You know what I mean? The technology's advanced so much, and so has their riding styles. They've advanced to the new machines, and it's like they're constantly striving to be a little bit better. That's why I like watching old, new. I can't get enough of it. Like I said, like
a lot of the kids these days, it seems like, they have their favorite rider because they ride a Honda, or they got the coolest gear, or they have this really neat sponsor that's not in the industry really. Gary Bailey was on the show last episode, and he was mentioned like, you need to be able to know exactly what your favorite rider's doing. When is he braking? When's he getting off the brakes? Not just, he had Malcolm Stewart had that gold helmet on, man. I really like him now. The kids nowadays seem like they need to really be studying these riders and like you're doing, and you're not even racing anymore, but you're passing it on. So, we got to encourage these kids to really, get off TikTok and Instagram and watch some videos of and really study these riders and like you said, mimic what they're doing. Where are they standing up? Where are they sitting down? You know, what are they doing different than I'm doing out there? And really break it down to different sections, parts of the corner. And that's how you're going to get better. And that's probably why you were one of the best, because you did pay attention. You put the work in off the track and during the week before the race weekend. And I know you probably you got to credit your dad for getting you out there and pushing you quite a bit, sometimes banging heads, but I'm sure you probably thank him for getting you out there nowadays. And you're able to push these up and coming riders to reach their potential. And man, hopefully I can send some of my riders down and work with you over the winter. I got a lot of riders that go down to Florida, and hopefully they get some time with you and come train with you, Ben.
Oh, that'd be awesome for sure. At least warm weather.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you, I know you said you had some guys that still kind of sponsor you, Bevo and John over at 100%, and Fox is still hooking you up. You got anybody else you want to shout out today?
I mean, really just Spider. I mean, those guys help me out. I mean, they hook me up if I need something, you know what I mean? I don't ask. That's my thing. Like, I don't ride very much anymore, so I don't ask. Like I said, I got a rep that helps me out that's been riding. We were buddies when we grew up racing. He's a rep now for Fox. But I gotta give a shout out to Spider. Like, they've helped me out so much. Pretty much I do whatever I want to do here at the track. I help work on it, try to, promote it as much as possible.
Where's Spider MX located in Florida? How can people check it out?
We got our own website, Spider MX. It's spelled with a Y instead of I. And spidermx.com. And then we have the thing is we're getting bought out by the neighborhood, the villages. We live right here by the villages, which is the biggest retirement community in the United States. So we're moving our facility next week. On my birthday, we start breaking ground in a new facility right up the road. So we're going to build a bigger, better place. Spider 2.0 is what the guy that owns the place says. So
all right,
but we're going to be here this whole winter. We'll be here for a whole nother year, pretty much until next September. But we're right there in the center part of the state. We're an hour south of Gainesville, an hour up the turnpike from Orlando, and an hour from Tampa, right off 75.
So these guys can get on spidermx.com, reach out to you, and they can reach you and schedule some time or come ride on an open practice day and learn from the champ, Ben Riddle.
Yeah, they can. You can go online and find out all the schedules and everything, but the best to be able to schedule something with me is probably go on my Facebook page or my Instagram, and you can get my phone number from there, and then you can call me. Usually I book through there on my Riddle motocross coaching page, or somebody will just call me through because my number's on my website and stuff. So most of the time they just call, and then I try to schedule something. Okay. And then we go from there. And like we say, I mean, it's pretty busy. Winter months is really busy down here. It just gets so hot during the summer that, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard a lot of people don't want to train down here full time for the summer. So my winter months are really busy. Summer, I do a lot more traveling. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just went to Kansas. I got to go back to Kansas for Boom Diggity MOTO Playgrounds, Boom Diggity coming up the first weekend of July. I go do that. And then I got a couple nationals I'm going to go with Griffin Maxwell. You don't know if he's from Ohio. He's one of my pro guys. He tried to do Mount Morris, but didn't make it in on time qualifying, crashed out. So that's it, but I'm going to go to a couple nationals with him, hopefully this summer. And, but if you guys ever want to come down, look me up. It's a fun place. We got a full arena for just pit bikes and peewees. So if it rains during the summer, our arena, you got a place to ride indoors. We got a turn track. We got an outdoor track. And then we got woods trails. And the thing is, with down here in Florida, I've got 5 different places to go ride. If we don't want to ride at Spider, we go up the road to another track. We don't want to ride there, we go to another track. We don't want to ride there, we go to a sand pit, or we go to another little sand pit. So the options, like with my guys, we'll ride Spider maybe once or twice a week, and then we'll go ride something else 2 or 3 times a week. So if we try to change up the variety, so you're not riding the same thing, you're not getting tired of riding it. I rode Daniel Boone a whole bunch, but I had my practice track in the backyard, and I would get sick and tired of riding it. When you spend hours and hours on it, it starts, you want to break the monotony and you want to move around a little bit. And I feel like it sharpens up their skills when you ride hard pack, because our track's hard pack, and then we go ride sand, then we go ride some different kind of sand. So we're constantly changing the elements and, you know, the different varieties of stuff down here. That's why that's one of the reasons I moved down here. It was just because of all the different tracks, and I live right here in the hotbed of if you pulled up all the pro riders and everybody that's right here, you'd be amazed. You got Ken Roxton, all those guys are right down the street. I mean, I'm 10 minutes from Sandbox. I'm 15 minutes from Baker's Factory. I'm 30 minutes from 83 Compound, where the Lawrence brothers train. Like, we're all right here in this general vicinity. And it's like, it's nuts, because you'll go to the gas station and you'll run into somebody. You're like, oh yeah. You know, it's like every time you turn around, it's not like back home up in Ohio or wherever Josh Geary's at from, that you never know. You know, you might never see an FMF sticker down here. You see dirt bikes and backs of trucks. So it's like, that's one of the reasons is, I don't know, it fit my personality. It's so much better living down here for me. I just enjoy it more, and it's just so much more riding and options to ride. And then there's more competition too. You know what I mean? A lot of the kids that come from up north that train with me during the winter, they'll come down here. We'll go to a local race, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's some fast guys. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of fast guys. Everybody comes down here and rides, and it makes it, I don't know, it just elevates everybody's level a little bit more and gets them a little bit more, you know, intense, you know, gets that intensity up and whatnot. So I feel like Florida brings a lot of stuff out of guys. That's why everybody's moving down here, you know.
Definitely a breeding ground for fast racers. And, you know, if you're winning your local track and you're in Ohio or you're out in Colorado or wherever, you got to get to ride with the faster guys. I mean, a first place trophy is cool, but if you're not learning something and you're not getting out there, or, you know, finding someone who's beating you, and then you got to learn to keep up with, you know, you're not really going to go anywhere probably, or, you know, it's going to take longer to excel. So, man, we are honored to have you on the show, and hopefully we get some guys to come down and train with you and learn from you. So we have Trey Geary on the show. He's out in Nebraska. He's a local ripper getting ready for Loretta's his regional coming up this weekend. What are you racing, Trey?
Cobra 50.
You're riding a Cobra 50. And what do you love so much about riding your dirt bike?
The jumps, the turns, the corners,
Keep talking.
and the ropes, the soft sand.
So you like a little bit of everything. Did you learn anything hearing from Ben today? I mean, he won Loretta's 5 times. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? How long have you been riding, Trey?
A year and a half.
8. I'm 5. I just turned 5.
I just turned 5.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Trey, do you have a question for Ben?
What's your favorite memory at Loretta's?
Favorite what?
What's your favorite memory at Loretta's?
Favorite memory at Loretta's? My first championship there in 97 or 98. Because I don't know. It was the best. I don't know. It was just really good because my dad was super excited. He was in tears. My mom was in tears. I rode my butt off. I should have won 2 that year, but I made a mistake in the other one and didn't position our place good enough. So I was like 1-5-1 or something. I don't remember the results, but I was out 1 point from winning. Should have won. But that year I got my first championship, and it was the most. I still remember it to this day. I remember my dad putting the man on the pit board when I come by because he knew I won. You know what I mean? And I won pretty good in a couple motos that year. So when you win by like 20 plus seconds, a couple motos, it makes you feel really good knowing that you're the fastest one in the class. You just didn't have some luck in one moto. So that year was pretty good. Anytime I go to Loretta's, even to this day, is fun. Like, I'm looking forward to going again this year. Like, I go down a week early and go fish and swim. And I have, there's so many people there that I know. I've been doing it for so long. It's like so many old faces and new friends that I've made that it's like a big family for me. I enjoy going. I got to say that year is probably the best memory, but every year I make even more memories there. It's like I took my little girl. I have a little girl that's 5. She went with me last year We spent 2 weeks down there. She had the time of her life. She can't wait to go. You know what I mean? I'm in trouble with her mom now because she's going to be out of school the first 3 days of school this year. So I'm already in the hot seat for that. But like, I don't know. Anytime you go down to Loretta's, it's so much fun, and it's just an experience in its own. Like, it's hard to wrap your mind around it, Trey, until you get down there and you realize how big and how much stuff is going on. Like, it's almost overwhelming at first, but then you'll see, you'll have so much fun. And like, I don't know, I enjoy going down there just fishing and hanging out. Every year I go fishing. I got my own little collapsible fishing pole I take with me on my airplane. Like, I make sure I bring all my little fishing gear. I have fun every time I go. So like, really, like the first championship is probably my most fondest memory of it. But every year I go, I have just as much fun. It's like, I can't get enough of it. I can't wait till this year to watch the races and swim and make some more memories with my little girl down there. So
that's great, Ben. So Trey, you have your regional this weekend, right?
Tyler, Texas.
Tyler, Texas.
Down in Tyler, Texas. Okay, cool. So you got to get a good start, and you got to keep it off the ground. Trey, do you have another question for Ben?
Yeah. Who was your greatest mentor?
Who was your greatest mentor?
My dad. We butted heads a lot, but he only meant good. I mean, there's a lot of times that I took what he said for granted, but I look back now and realize everything he was doing was better for me, better me as not just a racer, but a young man. So like, a lot of stuff that he was trying to teach me, I didn't comprehend at first. It took me some years, Trey, to figure that out. But my dad was my mentor. Like, he was my coach, my mentor, my dad, my best friend, my homie. Like, we were tight. And he's not here with us anymore. He passed away about 5-6 years ago. Wish he was, because I'd be calling him every time I used to call him every time I went to Loretta's and tell him how the kid. He'd call and ask, "Hey, how's your kids doing?" He'd leave messages all the time. "How they doing?" And even to the, up until he passed away, he was still calling, you know what I mean? Like, "Hey, how's the races? What's going on? Tell everybody I said hi. Hey, it's so-and-so there." Him and Wes Kane were real good buddies. So every time I'd see Wes and stuff, and they all, so yeah, like, my dad was my mentor more than anybody. I mean, I went to a lot of coaches and stuff, but my dad was the one that made me who I was racing. Now, I don't think anybody else. There were some guys that brushed up some stuff and helped me tighten up some loose ends on the bike, but my dad was the one that built me as a rider, and I give him all the credit. Trey, look, earlier we had a question, or you were talking about, you got to be at one with your motorcycle. That's one thing my dad said. You need to know exactly what that bike's going to do all the times. And when you get to a pro level, like them Lawrence brothers and stuff, they know how much front brake to use every turn. They know when to stand up. They know when to sit down. They know when to roll the throttle on. They know when to be aggressive on the throttle. And that comes at being at one with your motorcycle. That's why I rode so much, because I knew exactly what the bike was going to do in any conditions. And that's one of the things I instill upon my kids. That's why we ride at different tracks constantly down here, is because I want them to understand, like, you're going to use more front brakes over this track than you will over there. You might ride the front brake more. You might need to stand quite a bit at the sand track. So you got to be willing to adapt, and you got to constantly change and stuff. And, and you're always try to tell my guys, it's like when your wheel's out of true and you got to tighten the spokes up. That's what we're trying to do. We tighten up the spokes here, tighten up there, take the little wobbles out, and then it's true. But you got to focus on being at one with your motorcycle. You need to know exactly what it's going to do, every bump, jump. Then that comes from riding constantly, and experience, and riding and knowing exactly how it's going to respond to the, when you come out of this turn and you hit a square edge, or when you come out of the turn and there's a jump, or when you come into a turn and there's a bunch of braking bumps, what the bike's going to do. And then your confidence goes up, and then you'll be willing to you'll be able to take chances and stuff a lot more willingly if you're comfortable. Okay. I was meaning to say that earlier, but I didn't get to put that out. That's something my dad said: be at one with your motorcycle. You know what I mean? And if you're at one with your bike, guess what? Your confidence goes up. And if you're working hard off the track and you're working turns, your corners are good. And if you're riding a lot, your conditioning goes up. So then there's the 3 C's. And I preach the 3 C's with all my guys: confidence, conditioning, and cornering. That's the foundation of motocross. You can't build a house without a foundation. You can't ride a dirt bike without a foundation. If you don't have good technique, your speed's only going to be so fast. Your speed gets faster, your technique has to improve. So constantly work on stuff like that. Okay, Trey?
Hey,
all right.
Ben, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thanks a lot so much for talking to Trey. But you
Yes,
know,
sir.
as a father, I push him pretty hard. I do, and he pushes himself pretty hard. And you know, coming like from like a father and son with you and your dad, like, when should, you know, is there some things that your dad wish that he didn't do, or wish that he did do more? Like, you know, like something you can give me some kind of pointer for my son, like like, hey, don't push him hard, let him kind of go about it. That's what he wants to do, or not. You know, I'm like, it's kind of tough sometimes, you know.
Oh, I know. I completely understand. It's important at his age, let him have fun.
Okay.
You know, when he starts to develop into his riding style and his own, you know, his own style and his own personality on the bike, then, you know, when he gets 11, 12, then you can start, you know, not adding pressure to him, but just telling him, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. Like the yelling, like my dad regretted that because he used to yell at me like, oh, what are you doing? You're wasting money. And then after years went by, he was like, hey, you know, I wish I wouldn't have been that way. But at the same time, I knew if I did bad on the track and I come back, I was going to get a tongue lashing. You know what I mean? So it was almost kind of a pushy thing for me that I had pressure on myself every weekend. But at the same time, it was almost like sometimes it would, you know, I see parents that'll sit there, yell, and it kills their confidence. And the kid shuts down, and then they go out and ride like a turd. I'm excuse my language, but they ride like a turd. And that's from the parents killing their confidence. So it's a give-take situation. It really depends on the kid. I see some parents, the kids they can take it, and they're like, yes, all right, and they go out and execute. And there's some kids that you get on them. And even with me as a coach, I'll get on them a little bit and not even anywhere close to how my dad, but I was just like, hey, you know, what the hell? And the next thing you know, that, you know, they shut down. So it's like sometimes you got to kind of get a read off their personality and, you know, the way where their confidence is at. And if it's up high and, you know what I mean, they're not riding to their potential like they should, sometimes you got to give them a little foot. You know what I mean? Like just a little speech or talk to them. But the most important thing is not get them yelling and stuff. When you start yelling, I hate seeing that with the 50 parents. Sometimes the dads get so mad, and I know it's expensive, but at the same time, you got to keep it fun at that age because before you know it, they don't want to ride. And I see so many kids these days, by the time they're 11 and 12, they quit racing. They were fast on 50s, fast on 60s, fast on 80s, and they're just burnt out. And they don't want to race no more. And then they're playing basketball or football or something else. You know what I mean? So it's important to push them, but don't push them so hard that they shut down or they lose their confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I fell in one of his motos, and he got really mad. He came off the bike and ran right through the pits, like just hauling butt right through the pits. We got screamed at. He went to the Pee-wee track and just did lap after lap after lap. So, like, do I go out there and say, hey, listen, you need to calm down, you need to relax, get ready for your next moto? That's, you know, because I see he puts a lot of pressure. He wants to do good. And I don't know, that's for me. He wants to make me happy. But you know, to me, I just want him to be happy and be safe. But like, there's times where he would just, you know, get so mad that he'll be, you know, he'll take it and go off and ride lap after lap after lap. And I'm just like, you know, sometimes I either pull him off the track or do I let him go? Or, you know, what do I do in that kind of situation? You know, I know he's 5, but it's just, that's how he is.
Well, personally, in my personal opinion on it, when you're riding angry, you're going to be more likely not to think as much. So you're going to make maybe stupid mistakes or you know what I mean? That one, it's going to get you hurt. And a lot of times it's better. I tell my guys if we're doing a section or something, somebody goes down, they get all mad and they're like, just not right. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, go park it for a little bit. Go sit over and just chill under the tree, get your water, calm down. Because when you're all angry and stuff, you're not really, you're angry. You're focusing on that more than you are riding. And it's, you know, if you make one little simple mistake and you get hurt, then you're done. You know what I mean? You're out. So sometimes when you get done off the track and you had a bad moto, the best thing to do is go back to the truck, get a water, go for a walk. That's what I used to do. I'd go for a walk. I'd go walk through the pits and go find somewhere I could walk by myself and get my head clear. And then I go back and then go back on the track and change what mistakes I made in the race before. But it's important not to ride angry. Like, I mean, there's times you're going to have to do that in a moto or something, but you come off the track, if your moto's done, 90% of the time you need to go park it, evaluate what happened, figure out where I made the mistake. And then, when you go back out on the track or you go mob on the pit bike course, that's when stupid stuff happens. That's when you make a mistake, you break an arm, you tear a knee up. I've done that. Okay, being honest, I come off the track, went hopped on my pit bike, went over the pit bike track, mobbing around wide open, and next thing you know, I broke my wrist because I was mad. I was just, why'd I do that? So I was trying to take my anger out on the pit bike, and guess what happened? I got hurt. So a lot of times you got to think about the situation and then figure out, all right, I'm going to go back to the truck. I'm going to give me something to drink. I'm going to cool off. I'm going to go for a walk and try to get my mind, think about what happened. Go look at the corner or wherever I crashed at, figure out what line I can change up, and then focus on the next race.
Well, I appreciate it, Ben. Thanks a lot. I'm from Tampa, Florida, so my brother lived down there. So we're definitely going to be down there, and we're going to definitely hit you guys up and ride the track. And we like to come out there, ride the track and train out there for some of the summer, So we have a house down there in Tampa, so we like to get down there, and we'll definitely hit you guys up down there.
For sure, come out, because I have a bunch of little kids that ride with me. I just got done training a 50 kid just right before we got on the phone. So I mean, like I got like 4 or 5 kids that ride with me throughout the week, like a couple one day, a couple another day, and then I have a couple one-on-one. So it'd be good. There's a lot of little kids I help out down here around his age. Plus my daughter's 5 too, so they'd probably hit it off. They'd have a blast.
Sweet. And I got 4 kids. He's the oldest, and they ride. I got my 3-year-old. He rides a PW. So, and then I got another one that's 2 years old. He rides a little Stasic bike, and then I got a 1-year-old, 5-month-old girl. So yeah, I got 4 kids.
Wow.
But yeah, we expect, and he's the oldest. So we just started, and last year he's AMA 4. He's racing. So he just turned 5 this year, but last year he raced around here a lot, and then we started doing really good. So we hit up the RMRA. That's where we met Cash and those Colorado kids. And they're really fast.
Yeah.
He got really good there. And then I stuck him in the Thunder Valley area qualifier, not thinking much of it. And he actually qualified. So now, he's been training. I have a track out here. We live in Nebraska. I got 13 acres. So I built him a track. And he does, he has his figure eights. He has a little turn track, and he does. So he rides a lot. And just, that's what he likes to do. I don't force it on him. He'll go grab his stuff and put his stuff on and go ride. And pretty much, all the kids do. But I don't like to force it. But I know he puts a lot of work in, and then I start trying to be a little not aggressive, but like, okay, you got to keep doing this, can't keep doing this. Did I lose you there? Yeah, so that's kind of our little story here, and we're just kind of shooting at Loretta's and just see how it is. This is our first year actually like competing this way, everything's just all new to us. So I don't know, it's fun, and we met a lot, we love the sport, everybody's great. Everybody, the families, the friends, the relationships, spending time with your family. I love it. It's more than just racing, I think, for me. Just being out with your family and having fun, especially at this age. But I know if he keeps going, he might want to take it and be competitive. Who knows? I don't know, but we'll see. But
no, that's awesome though. Like
it's fun. I love it. I love the sport. I love talk. I mean, I'm glad you guys let me on this the podcast and stuff. This is awesome. I appreciate it, and it was awesome to meet you. And definitely when we get down to Florida, we'll definitely hit you guys up down there. All the kids ride out there.
And he's only riding 4 to 6. He's riding one class of 4 to 6, right? That's all they let him ride anymore, right? It's 4 to 6 stop, like 4 to 6 stop.
He PW 4 to 6 junior limited. Now he could have qualified on his PW on the drive shaft, but he didn't want to ride his PW, and he's pretty good on his PW because he's still at that age to do 4 to 6 in the drive shaft because he's still AMA 4. So he still has another 2 years in that 4 to 6. So maybe next year he'll do his Pee Wee and his junior, but we'll see. He said it's too slow. He's like the PW is too slow, Dad. I don't want to ride it. And I was like, fine. If you don't want to ride it, I'm not going to force you to ride it there. So, okay, just ride your. That's why we went up to Thunder Valley. I wasn't expecting much, but he actually rode pretty damn good on that. That's a pretty tough track, I think. It scares the crap out of me looking at it. I can't imagine like 4 or 5-year-old on that track.
Oh, for sure.
I'd keep him on the I'd keep him on the P-dub. And if you go back and listen to some of the past shows, get some advice from some of these other guys. I went to Loretta's in '93 on the P-dub when I was AMA 8. So I was 8 years old on the P-dub. I would say, Trey, this is my advice, and some of the other guys that have been on the show, stay on that P-dub, learn that thing, master that thing.
Okay.
And focus on that till you have to move up. Now you can still ride your other bike, race the other bike, but I would master that P-dub because you're going to learn things on that will excel you down the road. What do you think about that, Ben? Staying on the bike.
I completely agree. Like, I mean, in his age, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of kids try to ride it, the P-dub, for a lot longer, you know what I mean, than they should. But at his age and with his size, I would, you know what I mean? That 4 to 6 is pretty competitive. The P-dub's competitive too, but it's so equal. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's bikes don't have suspension. The brakes are horrible. Everybody.
I don't know how many times I welded on that bike. I've welded on that bike because he likes to jump off that bike. I'm like, you can't. That's why we kind of moved to the junior, because just because he jumped, it was more of a safety deal. I was like, if you're gonna jump, you might as well just take the junior and jump because you have the suspension. I would hate for him to just seat bounce it or just case it somewhere.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Oh,
That's my only thing, the way he rides. That's why we kind of went that junior, and I was like, okay, fine, get off the PW. But I kind of wish you would have qualified on this PW, up there, but.
You got next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 more years, so he can, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Good luck, Trey, this weekend. You go get him, all right? I'll watch live timing, and I'll see how you do.
Great.
And like with that race that you guys are doing, one of the last regionals.
Yeah.
And a lot of the competition's already qualified. You know what I mean? So one of the last, it might not be a stack, so he might have a really good chance of getting in too. I've got a couple kids. That's what they do. They wait. They won't. I mean, they're fast, but they're not first regional fast. They'll go. We had one that went and he got 8th. He's right out of it. He went to another one and got 2nd. You know what I mean? So it's not about the regions. It's that's how much competition's there, because a lot of people travel. Like I got somebody that's in Texas right now that'll be at that race this weekend. They ride the girls class. So they'll be there. My girl rider will be at that race. She already qualified, but she wanted to get a number 1 plate at a regional. She got a 2nd at one, and then she went to another one and got a 7th in the women's. So she's riding 2 different classes. So yeah. So and they'll travel. That's the big thing. Like sometimes you got to chase the competition, and sometimes you got to stay away from it just to make sure you can get in. You know what I mean?
No, that's why we went up to Colorado to chase that competition, because those kids were fast, just to help him ride faster. And it does. I can see it pull him out of his comfort zone a lot, trying to keep up with those kids. And then I'm the dad, I'm scared. I'm like, you need to slow it down. Okay, bro, you're going a little too fast. Just slow it down. But, do I say that to him, or do I let him? I don't want him to find out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? To get really hurt. But I kind of want him, I don't know what to do on that kind of situation. Do I kind of just turn away, walk away, and hopefully he finishes the race and I see him? Or, that's kind of like, where I'm at in a lot of those races. It just, I see him like with those kids, those older kids, just riding really fast. And it's scary to me.
For sure. I let my little girl ride, so I know what you're going through.
Hey, Trey, do you got some sponsors that you want to thank to help you get to the races?
Big time.
Sofa and Yucca House, Sofa and Glow Vision.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend, Trey. Next week hop on the show and share how your weekend went.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
Everybody get down and see Ben down at Spider MX. Hit him up, get some training. Thanks for tuning in to Moto Talk, episode 7, sponsored by SRS Suspension here in Ohio. Thanks again, Ben. Thanks, Trey. Thanks, Josh. Man, we're excited for you guys. We're excited for your weekend. Thanks again, Ben. We really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on and everything.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you guys soon on Moto Talk. Get fast or get last.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.